Shots were fired at Cody Rhodes on AEW Collision, and how did a non-Chicago crowd react to CM Punk? But first we have an update on reported unhappiness inside the AEW locker room. Earlier this week there would be a report from Dave Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer newsletter that claims a top name in AEW left AEW Dynamite in a bad mood due to the return of CM Punk, and describing the situation as a ticking time bomb that will not have a happy ending. This followed a recent claim from Meltzer on Post Wrestling, where he told of divisiveness in the AEW locker room, calling it worse now than it ever has been. On Friday night, Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select would speak on the weekly SRS Q&A podcast, where he would be inundated with questions regarding Punk and the backstage mood, with him revealing what he knows about Meltzer's claims. Sapp would reveal that he has not heard the same things as Dave, noting that the current mood is a far cry from certain periods last year, and he would say, "No, I cannot say that I have heard the same things that Dave Meltzer has. I definitely don't see it anywhere near as bad as what I saw after All Out, or even around some points in the summer during CM Punk's absence last year, when there were a lot of frustrated people over a ton of injuries, changes, last-minute decisions, and the like. So based on my experience and talking with talent, I don't see that. I don't see it nearly anywhere close to that." Sean would then give out some information regarding the reaction on the Elite side of the fence to CM Punk's return, with them seemingly fine with any references to them from the Second City Saints, noting that it was expected, and he would add, "There are a lot of people asking, did the Young Bucks know that promo was coming? Did Hangman Page know that was coming? They knew something was coming. For example, Hangman Page. His people were made aware that ESPN interview was coming a week before it came out. He was also told a little bit of details about what was coming out of the ESPN interview ahead of time. The Young Bucks, Hangman, Kenny Omega, they are not dumb. They knew that there was going to be a firecracker line in a promo. I don't know if they knew what the line would be or anything like that, but they wisely made the decision to do a pre-tape for the June 21st Dynamite as well, and then CM Punk would be on Dynamite. That was the best possible outcome for all the talent involved there." Upon the Elite's return to AEW back in November, several shots were fired at Punk during their matches and on being the Elite, something that eventually settled down once they got it out of their system. The same appears to have happened with CM Punk too, who got what he wanted to say off his chest last week, with there since being no Elite references from him. Both sides have done it, and unless there's something that can be worked out storyline-wise between the two, these references will likely dry up completely as we move forward. And before we continue, do you want to get your hands on this weekend's Forbidden Door pay-per-view for just $19.99? Well, if you use the combination of our NordVPN and Fight affiliate links, you can do just that. First, NordVPN allows you to change the location of your device in order to access websites and services that you wouldn't be able to use in your country, and in this instance, a whole bunch of countries worldwide can access Forbidden Door on Fight for the aforementioned $19.99, such as here in the United Kingdom. Although I would recommend using Lithuania, which appears to work better at my testing. Once you're connected, head over to our Fight affiliate link where you can see the pay-per-view for just that price. You'll also have access to the AEW Plus streaming service, which costs just $6.99 a month and contains every episode of All Elite Wrestling Television on demand in one place. There is also a 7-day free trial if you just want to test it out. You can also watch Dynamite, Collision, and Rampage live and ad-free. So be sure to head over to our NordVPN and Fight affiliate links in the description below, the perfect tag team for any wrestling fan. And next, let's find out what went down on last night's episode of AEW Collision, where the Forbidden Door mystery partner was revealed. The show would open up with a segment that would see Chris Jericho alongside Minoru Suzuki demanding to find out who will join Sting and Darby Allin in tonight's trios match at Forbidden Door. They would then be interrupted by Darby and Sting, who would then reveal that they would be teaming with Tetsuya Naito, an old New Japan rival of Jericho in 2018 and 19, with it being Naito that ended the IWGP Intercontinental Championship reign of the Painmaker. This means that Sting, Darby Allin, and Tetsuya Naito will team up against the trio now billed as the Suzuki Gods, which consists of Chris Jericho, Minoru Suzuki, and Sammy Guevara. This wasn't the last New Japan involvement of the night, however, as the first match on Collision would see rising star Swerve Strickland take on 8-time IWGP Heavyweight Champion Hiroshi Tanahashi. The finish of the match would see the Ace climb the top rope in an attempt to hit the high fly flow. However, he would lose his footing, almost falling outside of the ring, although Swerve's quick instincts saw him jump up and call a spot that led to him landing back in the same position, allowing for the veteran to score his finishing move for the pinfall win. Tanahashi's Forbidden Door opponent MJF would then appear on the big screen ahead of their AEW World title match, who would say, "Now, I have spoken to Tony Khan and I told him that the only way I'm showing up for Forbidden Door is if we're match 1. Why? I'll tell you why. 1, I ain't staying in a dump like Canada longer than I have to. And 2, I'm the holder of the grandest prize of them all, the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Do you really think I want to waste my time watching a bunch of indie jabrons from Japan wrestle?" The promo is in keeping with Max's recent refusal to work the show and provides a good kayfabe reason as to why the AEW World title match has failed to main event the second pay-per-view in a row. And next, a top AEW star has fired shots at Cody Rhodes. Last night on Collision, AEW TNT champion Luchasaurus would appear alongside a vocal Christian Cage, who has acted like he's the one who won the title ever since his partner's win last week over Wardlow on the debut episode of the Saturday Night Show. Cage would address the current TNT title situation, noting that he left the show last week in a bad mood, seemingly a reference to the aforementioned Dave Meltzer report. Christian would then manage to draw heat by taking shots at his hometown Toronto sports teams, before referencing the first ever AEW TNT champion Cody Rhodes. He would then close with a reference to WWE's tagline, "Then, now, forever, together," and said, "I'm not going to sit here and act like I created this championship as some vanity project like some other guy who used to travel the roads here in AEW, but I do promise you this. I will take this championship to new heights. I will make this championship the most prestigious and sought-after championship in AEW, and we will remain the face of TNT now and forever." Christian would then once again be lifted up onto the shoulders of the actual champion Luchasaurus, with fans now awaiting 2 things. First, who will the next #1 contender be? And second, how long will it take for the wrestling dinosaur to fall back with Cage on his shoulders, reminiscent of Randy Orton's split from Evolution? And for our final piece coming out of last night's episode of AEW Collision, how did a non-Chicago crowd react to CM Punk? Whilst he has made 2 AEW appearances since his recent 9-month hiatus, both of those were in his hometown of Chicago. However, last night's episode of Collision would go down in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, with him receiving more than a mixed reaction. Mumblings of an anti-CM Punk crowd would appear on social media, as it would be noted by many fans in attendance that any mention of him on video packages or pre-taped promos on the big screen would be met with boos. This then continued when he entered the arena for the main event, which saw Punk team with Ricky Starks and AEW Tag Team Champions FTR to take on Jay White and Juice Robinson of Bullet Club Gold, as well as former AEW Tag Team Champs, the Guns. As the night rolled on, we would hear more from the pro-Punk members of the audience, as several CM Punk chants broke out, with the atmosphere reminiscent of John Cena's peak run in WWE. In the end, he would find himself on the losing side of the bout when Switchblade Jay White pinned Ricky Starks clean in the middle of the ring, scoring a big win for he and his team. Juice, Jay, and the Guns would then embrace in the middle of the ring with their guns in the air, seemingly a sign that the brothers are now officially part of Bullet Club Gold. And before you go, make sure you check out my predictions for Forbidden Door 2023.